This is your former self. The thoughts you keep replaying, the feelings you relive over and over, the memories you cannot let go of. As long as you carry this with you, your world cannot shift. This weight is not always felt in your body. Most often, it is invisible, a silent burden you have hauled for years. Yet it shows up in the tightness in your chest every morning, in the inner voice that whispers, "Do not expect too much." In the patterns you promised yourself you would never repeat, but you did anyway. It resides in your nervous system, in your body's chemistry, in your small daily choices. This is not merely the past, it is a frequency. And like a tune stuck on loop, your old self plays again and again, while your aspirations remain on hold. Here is what no one tells you. You cannot step into a fresh existence while staying loyal to the energy of what came before. Most individuals fail to realize this. They attempt to bring forth what they desire by thinking differently, imagining vividly, jotting it down. But beneath it all, they remain unchanged. They still rise in the same emotional space, still recall the same narrative, still anticipate the world to transform while energetically identical to who they were the day prior. Let us be straightforward. This sense of self, your former version, was built for one purpose: to survive. It took shape amid pain, in reaction to rejection, failure, disappointment. You did not select it on purpose. It was a response, a shield, a facade you learned to wear. Over time, this facade grew familiar, comfortable. You forgot it was just a cover, and now it feels like the real you. But what if it is not? What if the voice in your mind claiming you are unprepared or that it is too dangerous is not the truth? It is simply the echo of the past you have yet to release. Quantum principles reveal something groundbreaking. The world does not exist on its own. It responds to the observer, to your inner state. You are not separate from the field. You are the field, folded into shape. So every time you awaken and embody this old self, guess what the universe delivers? More of the same. Not because you are cursed, not because you are doing it wrong, but because the field aligns with consistency, and you are the tuning fork. You do not manifest what you desire. You manifest who you are. That is why this process is not about becoming someone new. It is about shedding everything you are not. The former self aims to keep you safe. But safety is not your soul's aim. Stagnation is not your destiny. This heavy sense of identity, shaped by trauma, shame, failure, or rejection, is not the version of you that exists in the world you have glimpsed in your grandest visions. That future world awaits, and it already is, not in some distant tomorrow, but in a parallel vibration, a frequency you tune into rather than chase. But here is the tough reality. You cannot access this world while emotionally tied to what was. You cannot keep experiencing guilt, resentment, or self-doubt and expect growth. You cannot show up as yesterday's self and collapse a timeline you have never encountered. So what do? In this content, we will break this loop. We will face the former self, not to criticize it, but to release it. We will honor what it taught us and then let it go. Together, we will enter the quantum field, not through words, but through vibration. And I will guide you in collapsing the energetic imprint of the past, so you can finally embody the version of yourself already living the life you have requested. Because the field does not ask you to try harder. It waits for you to tune differently. You are not stuck because your future is unreal. You are stuck because your identity keeps collapsing the same world over and over. But once you shift this, once you release the burden, the wounds, the labels, you will witness something extraordinary. Life will bend, the world will rearrange, the field will respond. Not because of what you said, but because of who you have become. Now take a breath. Something is already stirring, and it is not coming from outside. It is awakening from within. Are you ready to meet the version of yourself that is already free? Let us proceed. You wake up. The same bed, the same thoughts, the same internal story, whispering in your mind before your eyes even open. I hope today will be different, you might think. But the instant your feet touch the floor, your body has already chosen otherwise. Why? Because long before your aware mind starts creating, your subconscious identity has taken control. You do not enter a new day, you enter the former self. The body remembers. It remembers who you were, not as a recollection, but as biology. Emotions turn into neurochemical patterns. Behaviors become automatic. Over time, you stop responding to the present moment. You simply replay the past repeatedly until the now feels lifeless and starts resembling a repeated experience. By 35 years old, 95% of who you are is a collection of memorized behaviors, emotional responses, unconscious habits, encoded beliefs, attitudes, and perceptions. In other words, most of what you call yourself is actually not you. It is programming. It is conditioning. It is the former self, and it runs the show. The moment you alter your perception, you rewrite your body's chemistry, which means that who you are, chemically, emotionally, energetically, scripts the world you inhabit. That is why change can feel so difficult, because you are not just trying to move a thought. You are trying to move an emotional addiction your body has developed to this version of you, to the self that anticipates disappointment, prepares for abandonment, does not believe in deserving greater things, not because it is broken, but because somewhere long ago it decided it was safer to expect less. You did not choose to live this way, but at some point your system decided that familiar suffering was secure, and what is familiar became safe, even if painful. This is the true prison, not the outer world, but the identity we fear leaving behind. Even when it makes us ill, even when it steals our joy, even when we know deep down it is not who we truly are. So let me ask you with kindness, not judgment, what emotions do you feel most often? Is it regret, anger, shame, insecurity, doubt? What if these emotions are not random? What if they are rehearsed? What if your body is addicted to these signals because they reinforce the chemical identity of the former self? And if that is true, what world do you think this emotional broadcast attracts? Here is the harsh truth most people never face. Your former self is not just a memory. It is a magnetic field. And the quantum field listens not to your affirmations, not to your vision board, but to the emotional signature you carry all day. You can say you want love, but if your core is, I am not good enough, you will push away connection. You can imagine abundance, but if your emotional home is fear, you will unconsciously block opportunities. Not because you do not deserve them, but because your nervous system has not yet upgraded to the version of you aligned with receiving. That is why you can consume all the content, take all the courses, repeat all the phrases and still feel stuck. Because healing is not just mental, it is vibrational, embodied, cellular. So what now? First, we bring awareness to this pattern, not to shame it, but to see it. To realize that who you were is not a fixed truth. It is a practiced vibration, one you can stop rehearsing the moment you decide to no longer identify with it. This is not about self-hatred, it is about self-liberation, about allowing yourself to stop carrying the weight of a version of you that existed only to survive in a world that no longer is. And here is the beautiful paradox. The moment you begin observing your former self without merging with it, when you view it through the eyes of your higher self, you become the observer. And in quantum terms, this changes everything. The observer collapses the wave. The instant you recognize your former self as a pattern, you are no longer the pattern. You are the consciousness watching the pattern. And this awareness is the first glimmer of light in an entirely new world. So now I ask you to engage, but not just with a like or follow. I want something deeper. Take a moment and write below this phrase. I am ready to release the version of me that no longer aligns with my future. Not as a ritual, not as a trend, but as a declaration, a conscious interruption of the cycle, a signal to the field that you are no longer available for the past, And if this message touches something in you, something ancient, something sacred, something stirring, then I invite you to align not just with this space, but with this new frequency. This place is not about information. It is about transformation. And if you are ready for this shift, you are exactly where you need to be. We are told to ask, believe, visualize. Yet many of us still wait. Wait for something to click, for resources to arrive, for the right person to appear, for the breakthrough to finally happen. And when it does not, we doubt ourselves. We wonder if we are doing something wrong, if we are blocked, if perhaps we are not meant for more. But what if the issue is not that your desire is too grand, but that your vibration is still too familiar? Here is the truth most manifestation teachings miss. The quantum field does not respond to your words. It does not respond to your vision board. It does not even care about what you say you want. It mirrors back only one thing, your state of being. This is the law of vibrational coherence. In quantum terms, coherence is when your heart, mind, emotions, and actions are all aligned. It is the energetic yes the universe awaits. Not the yes you write in a journal or say aloud once in the morning, but the yes that is embodied, felt, lived consistently. You cannot out-manifest your frequency. The field does not hear, "I want abundance." It hears, "I am not good enough," if that is what you feel all day. It does not see your dream home if you live inside fear. It does not notice your desire for love if your emotional home is loneliness, jealousy, or unworthiness. Not because the field is cruel, but because it is precise. Imagine the quantum field as a mirror. You do not raise one hand and expect the reflection to raise the other. You must truly move for the reflection to follow. The problem is that most of us try to manifest from our current identity. We use the lens of who we are now to try to access a timeline that belongs to a completely different version of us. But your future self, the one living the life you want, does not just think differently. They are different. They feel differently. They enter rooms differently. They speak from a deeper place. They have shifted from wanting to being, from hoping to embodying. Let us break this down even more scientifically. Every thought you have sends an electrical signal. Every emotion you feel radiates magnetically. Together, your thoughts and emotions are a vibrational broadcast, like a radio signal constantly transmitting a message to the quantum field. And that message is not what you want. It is who you are. So ask yourself, what are you broadcasting? Is your inner frequency congruent with the reality you claim to be ready for? Or are you still transmitting lack, fear, doubt, and impatience while trying to tune into a timeline built on gratitude, trust, joy, and abundance? Imagine trying to listen to an inspiring symphony, but your radio is still tuned to static. That is what happens when your former self tries to reach for a new timeline. And this is not just about positive thinking. That is the surface level. This is about energetic truth. Because the universe, the field, does not respond to what is on your lips. It responds to what is in your nervous system. One of the most powerful insights from the observer effect is that the act of observation collapses potential into form. But here's the twist. It is not just what you observe in reality. Who you are while observing determines what collapses. You do not manifest. You choose. And who you are is the chooser. Let that sink in. You do not attract the future. You tune into it, choose it, align with it. But you cannot align with something your current self has never met. That is why the shift is internal. You become the version of yourself that naturally draws what you once chased. You do not pull things to you. You elevate yourself. That is why manifestation without identity work always feels like pushing a boulder uphill. You are trying to build a future on the foundation of an outdated self. And no matter how beautiful the blueprint, if the ground beneath it has not shifted, the structure will collapse. So here is the question, more important than any vision board. Who do I need to become to be a vibrational match for what I desire? Not in the future, now, in this moment, in thought, in feeling, in action, in embodiment. Because when you become, the universe mirrors. Not gradually, but instantly. Not always in physical form right away, but in energy, in signs, in synchronicities, in sensations. You will know because you will feel it. That gentle pull saying you have tuned into something real. You will stop feeling like you are trying so hard and start feeling like you are in the right place at the right time, doing the right thing as the right version of yourself. And that is when the field begins to bend. Are you ready to discover who your future self already is? You do not need to create a new you. You need to remember it. There is a version of you already living in the frequency of everything you have ever asked for. Not a future version, not a hypothetical ideal, a very real, very alive self that exists right now in the quantum field. And the only thing separating you from this version is your vibration. This may sound radical, but quantum principles have told us for decades that reality is not linear. Time is not fixed. You are not walking a straight line from point A to point B, slowly building toward a future self. What truly exists is a vast, infinite field of now moments, all happening simultaneously, all accessible depending on what you tune into. In quantum language, we call this the multiverse. In spiritual language, we call it divine potential. Either way, the message is the same. The you that thrives, healed, empowered, magnetic, is not on the way. It is already here in a different frequency, a different vibrational pattern, a different state of being. And your task is not to chase it. Your task is to collapse the distance between where you are and who it is by becoming vibrationally compatible. But let us pause for a moment, because this is not just philosophy, it is deeply practical. So ask yourself, if your higher self is already living inside you, what would it think? How would it breathe, walk, speak to strangers, handle resources, face the unknown? Would it still cling to doubt? Would it still replay a rejection story from years ago? Would it settle for less because maybe that is all I will get? No. Your higher self vibrates from trust, from alignment, from grounded confidence and magnetic calm. It does not manifest through effort. It attracts through coherence. Its energy speaks before it does. And everything in its life, from relationships to health to purpose, responds accordingly. Because here is the truth most people miss. The universe does not rearrange itself because you are worthy. It rearranges because you are resonant. And resonance is not something you ask for. It is something you become. That is why the most powerful shift you can make today is not external. It is internal. It is the choice to stop identifying with the old story and start aligning with the new. And not because it is already here physically, but because you have decided to meet it vibrationally. You go first, then the path appears. So let us go deeper. Take a moment and close your eyes. Imagine yourself entering a room. The version of you already living the life you desire stands there. Feel its presence, not as something distant or mystical, but as someone familiar, because it is you. It has always been you, just waiting for you to remember. Notice how it carries itself. Ease in the shoulders, light in the eyes, clarity in the voice. It does not need to convince anyone. It radiates truth. It has released the weight. It has burned the old scripts. It has collapsed the version of itself built on fear, and in its place allowed a new identity to emerge. Now ask it, what did it release to become so free? Because the new self is not built by adding more. It is revealed by subtraction, peeling away layers of programming, pain, and pretense until what remains is essence, soul, truth, alignment. This is the shift. You do not become something. You remember something. You do not construct a new reality. You tune into the one that already exists. And here is where it becomes magical. The moment you do this, the moment you stop identifying with the old frequency and start vibrating as the new self, the field responds. Suddenly, a thought you never had before, a person reaching out unexpectedly, an intuitive pull towards something your former self would ignore. The more you follow this flow, the more the new timeline stabilizes. You start noticing synchronicities, coincidences, openings because you are no longer on the frequency of resistance. You are on the frequency of reception. And here is the most beautiful part. The former self does not need to be destroyed. It just needs to be retired, thanked, honored, released because it was never bad. It was just outdated, like an operating system that kept you functional but not free. So release it and step into the self that already knows how this story ends. The self that already walks in alignment with the future you thought you had to chase. You do not attract your new life. You align with the version of yourself already living it. Are you ready to meet it? Let us not just talk about change. Let us feel it. Let us become it. Because no information, no insight, no teaching, no matter how powerful, will ever transform your life if it does not become embodied. Here the shift becomes real. Here the new timeline stabilizes through intentional ritual, through energetic declaration, through whole body choice. Right now you will guide yourself through a quantum identity reset. Not by force, not by trying, but by collapsing the identity that no longer serves your future and entering the one that already does. Let us begin. Step 1. Name the former self. You cannot release what you do not acknowledge. So give your former self a name. It could be a word, a nickname, a symbol, something that captures who you were. The you that cycled through fear, doubt, limitation. Maybe the doubter, the overstriver, the settler. Whatever name comes intuitively, claim it. Now speak to this identity. Thank it. It kept you alive. It helped you survive. But it is not the one to carry you forward. Step 2. The release ritual. Visualize yourself carrying this version of you like a heavy backpack, like an image of dragging a suitcase filled with memories, stories, patterns. Now see yourself stopping, removing it, setting it down. You do not need to destroy it. You just need to let go. Imagine walking away, lighter, taller, clearer. You have collapsed the energy that kept you bound, and in doing so freed space in the field for a new frequency to emerge. Step 3. Embody the new self. Who are you now? Feel it. In this moment, stand or sit in the posture of the version of you already living in alignment. The one who trusts intuition. The one who radiates peace. The one who no longer needs to chase because it is what it once sought. How would it breathe, speak, look around, respond to challenge, shift into this version? Now step 4. Anchor it with declaration. Repeat the following phrase, not mechanically, but with presence, with embodiment, with choice. I no longer collapse the past. I tune into who I truly am. Again, I no longer collapse the past. I tune into who I truly am. Let these words be a frequency, not just a mantra. Let them cut through the old signal. Let them echo in your cells. You are not just saying them, you are becoming them. Because every cell in your body, every atom in your being is listening. And more importantly, so is the field. As you vibrate as the new self, the field begins to reorganize. Opportunities once invisible start to surface. People who match your new energy start to appear. Your outer world does not shift because you asked for it. It shifts because you have become someone new. You now walk in resonance. And this resonance is your new reality. Here is the final part. The ritual is not just a one-time event. It is a doorway, a frequency you visit every time the former self tries to return, because it will try. Not to sabotage you, but to witness, to remind you that you have outgrown it. And every time you choose again, you strengthen the new vibration. So here is your practice. Every morning, before the world enters, ask yourself, which version of me will collapse reality today? And choose consciously, lovingly, powerfully. Because when you do, you are not just changing your life, you are changing timelines. And the ripple of this choice moves through the quantum field like a wave, reshaping what is possible, not just for you, but for every life you touch. You have reset your identity. You have collapsed the past, You have entered the field as someone new. When you finally release who you were, reality begins to reorganize itself around who you truly are. Not someday, not after a year of work, but now, in this moment. Because the shift does not start when the world changes. It starts when you change. And perhaps for the first time in a long while you feel it. This lightness, this strange blend of peace and possibility, this inner whisper saying something has moved. It is not your imagination. It is the field responding. Reality has always been more malleable than we were taught. Not fixed, not rigid, but fluid, dynamic, alive and waiting. Not for you to chase it, but for you to tune into it. This is how true quantum manifestation works. You do not drag your future to you. You rise to meet it. You become the frequency of the life you desire, and the outer world by universal law must match. Not because it is magic, but because it is mathematics. Because your vibration is the architecture of your reality. And when your vibration changes, your life cannot remain the same. Look around. Nothing may seem different yet, but you are different. And that in itself changes everything. Because from this moment, every thought you choose, every emotion you embody, every belief you reinforce either aligns you with your expanded timeline or calls you back to the past. And you have already made your choice. So now the real practice begins. Not in theory, but in life. When an old emotion rises, you will remember, this is not me. This is residue. When an old pattern tries to play, you pause and say, I no longer collapse this version of me. When fear whispers, you respond with presence. When doubt returns, you breathe deeper. You speak softer. You act from a place the former self never accessed. You are no longer broadcasting the past. You have changed your signal, and this change has consequences. Beautiful, unimaginable, soul-expanding consequences. Some you will recognize immediately. Unexpected clarity, heightened synchronicities, people appearing differently around you. Others will be more subtle but just as real. A sudden sense of alignment, ideas flowing effortlessly, moments of divine timing that confirm you are finally walking with your true self. So as we close this sacred container, I want to ask you for something deeper than a like or follow. If this content has awakened something within you, if it has reminded you that there is a self inside you that is not broken, not wounded, not stuck, but infinite, radiant, whole, then leave something in the field. Make your presence known. Speak not just to me, but to your future self. Right below, the old me is released. Let this be your signature, your energetic imprint to the quantum field, a ripple, a vibration, a declaration. And if this space felt like more than content, if it felt like a remembrance, then come closer. This is not just a channel. It is a frequency, a home for those of us collapsing timelines and rising into the versions of ourselves we were born to be. So align not just to stay connected, but to stay coherent, aligned, elevated. Because the true shift is not just personal, it is collective. And the more of us vibrating as our highest truth, the more this world begins to mirror that truth back to us. You are not alone in this. You are part of a field of beings awakening to their quantum nature. And now that you have remembered, you cannot unremember. The old you has fulfilled its purpose. The new you is already living the next chapter. And reality, it is listening. See you in the next timeline.